So, meine Damen und Herren, der zweite Teil der Konferenz beginnt. Ich übergebe gleich an Manfred. Manfred ist uns aus Wien zugeschaltet. Richtig, Manfred?
Ja, super. Ich hoffe, ihr hört mich. Ich hoffe, ihr seht meine erste Folie.
Wir sehen deine Folie, wir hören dich, wir sehen dich aber nicht. Jetzt sehen wir dich.
Gut.
Lieber Manfred, entschuldige bitte die kleine Verzögerung. Es ist immer eine logistische Herausforderung bei so vielen Referenten. Ich hoffe, es passt. Super.
Alles gut.
Gut, dann bitte sehr.
Gut, ich habe verstanden, Englisch ist gut und Deutsch ist gut und ich werde so eine Mischung machen, also German-Englisch werde ich sprechen.
Absolut richtig, genau.
Okay, super. Okay, Manfred Moormann heißt, my name is Manfred Moormann. I'm working for A1, which, as you might know, is a telco situated mainly in Austria, but we have retail businesses in 7 countries, including Belarus, Bulgaria, Croatia, North Macedonia, Serbia, Slovenia, and so on. And our revenue is about 4.75 billion euros, and we have about 26 million customers. And what I'd like to talk about today is users of mobile networks produce data, that's obvious. And there are 2 different ways to use them. For example, for you to use those data. And the first method is to use all those data produced by our customers or roaming customers and so on in a fully anonymized way. So all the mobile handsets within our networks, they produce data. Then we anonymize with some algorithms all those data, and then you may have a request for an analysis, for example, and then we do this analysis for you and present you the result. And this is true for insights in transportation, event and location insights, tourism insights, and so on. The second part is you may also get access to individual data. So data of individuals, so single persons, and the method for getting access to this is we have to have, in the very most cases, an explicit consent or a delegated consent, and then you may request those data and you'll get the data from this individual person. And examples for this, and I will come back to this later on, are dates like SIM swap, which is a date where the pairing of a mobile phone and a SIM card is crucial, and such things like this, and I'll explain this later. This is crucial for security reasons. So we offer those anonymized stuff in countries like you see here: Germany, Austria, Slovenia, Croatia, Serbia, Bulgaria, and North Macedonia. And for the individual use cases, currently we just offer this in Austria, but we might offer this in other countries as well. And normally there are colleagues of us in other countries doing more or less exactly the same or similar thing, as we try to keep this on the same level in each of the European countries at least. And basically all this is based on worldwide standards. So when we start with this anonymized stuff, which is quite interesting for certain reasons, and normally there is this customer journey on a daily basis, and we have normally millions of devices within our networks and in thousands of base stations, and we more or less see exactly where those devices are situated. When I say exactly, this is not exactly true. We see a region where this mobile phone is, and this region, you may think about a square of 250 meters length. This is what we are able to see. And then we collect those data, we anonymize those data, we analyze data, visualize data, and answer questions. So for example, this is the very well-known example of Ischgl when we had our first lockdown and we made this analysis for the Austrian government. Therefore, you see this Mobilität, which stands for mobility. And this is the departure of tourists from Ischgl when the lockdown started on the 13th of March in the year 2000. And you see where all those people went to. And we have certain dashboards where you may get insights in location, where do my visitors come from, how long do they stay with me, which socio-demography do they belong to, and so on. We have similar things for tourism insights, like what activities do the visitors have within my region, or how are they distributed in my area? Are there differences in season, month, weeks or so? You have city insights. You may even plan your public transport networks based on our analysis. What is the mobility volume within the city? Where do people in an area came from? Where do people from an area move to, and things like this. And we have retail insights. So when there is your next point of sale, you would like to plan what is the region where the people come from, and so on and so on. Transportation insights, we use those data, for example, for the Austrian railroads, which is ÖBB, because they normally do not, as exactly as we know, where customer or transport customer jump into their trains or jump out and stuff like this. Normally this jump in and jump out is in stations, obviously. And where is it worth to invest in certain topics? And this is what Austrian Railroad is doing. And we have other use cases where digital out-of-home marketing is interested of the people seeing the pictures they are presenting and how many visitors from which location and where do the people passing by come from, where do the people who pass by them end up, and things like this. So this is all about this anonymized data. And we made a company for this, which is called Invenium. And if you need contacts, as you have your own questions, we'd be more than happy to share those data, and even more happy to sell this analysis to you. For the individual user, the missed-in oriented stuff, and as I mentioned, this is possible to do in other countries as well. We have to have a consent. And when we have this, so there is a user with a mobile phone, and this user with a mobile phone has a contract with a telco or an ISP. And on the same side, the user normally is interested in a service provided by another company, like, for example, a bank or a portal provider or companies like this. And so this customer in the middle has a relation with both parties. And normally there is no direct relation between the telco and the service provider, but normally there are aggregators. That's because normally service providers are not interested in parts of the market. They normally would like to know the whole market, and the market would be, in this example, for example, Austria or Germany or whatever country you're interested in. And therefore, from a service provider's perspective, those aggregators aggregate telcos in a certain area, like in Austria. And from a telco perspective, the aggregators collect or aggregate service providers. As some of those service providers are normally acting globally, or at least in the Western world, it is very unlikely that those service providers would like to get contracts with all the telcos in, for example, in all the European markets. And therefore, a service provider asks an aggregator, for example, for a certain type of data for Austria, for example. And the data we are currently offering are data like SIM swap. So this is the most recent pairing, basically, between a SIM card or an eSIM, which is more or less like the key to enter a mobile network with the mobile phone. And we use different acronyms, and this is quite typical for the telco industry. But basically, it is whether the user changed the SIM card or the eSIM within its mobile phone. And the reason for this is because based on this, there were some or even many bank accounts robbed, especially in the United Kingdom, as there was certain topic in the security stuff of the banks. Other things are like age verification. Is a certain person older than X years or so? This is an answer easily to give. Then there is a silent mobile verification check. For example, if a user types in its mobile number, we call it MISTIN, on a browser via the mobile phone of the user, then we may check within our network mechanics whether the mobile phone typing in or the user using the mobile phone to type in its MISTIN is the same phone, has the same phone number as what the customer types in. Then there are topics like unconditional call forwarding. Is forwarding enabled? This is also a security topic. Is the user in a roaming status? So for example, if you're a credit card company and there is an attempt to pay with your credit card from, let's say, Austria or let's say Malaysia, but
sorry, 1 minute left.
Yes, this is easily doable. Then we will do this, and other stuff like number deactivation, number suspension, or know your customer. So we may even exchange in a hashed method names, date of birth, and addresses of our customers. Basically, that's it. If you have any question, don't hesitate, contact me, and therefore I have another set of data for you.
Good. Thank you very much, Manfred, for your presentation. Let me summarize what we have learned so far during the first part of the conference. A lot of speakers, as Michael or Dorian, have talked about data stitching, about the necessity of bringing different data sources together, such as customer data, on-site behavior data, offline data. I call it first-party data strategy. Can you give us some insights about your attempt, about your goals when it comes to first-party data strategy?
What we're trying to do is to convince especially the European Commission to create an ecosystem where different parties, like for example the telcos, may bring in data into the ecosystem. And for us as the telco industry, it is very crucial that the user, which is from our point of view the owner of the data, is the master of what will happen with its data. And we believe, yes, it's true that you have to have more data than, for example, just telco data. It might be bank data or what the European Commission is currently trying to accelerate these things like driving licenses and stuff like this. But when you see example like driving licenses, it is very crucial whether the license is still valid. It might be that you lost your driving license during the last whatever weekend due to certain reasons, and therefore we have to have such data in an online manner and not so much in an offline manner. And so we really believe it is crucial to have one platform where you may get data from different sources, or second or third party data from one source, more or less. And what we try to do as the telco industry, we really try to build similar services across all the attending telcos. And this is one of the strengths of our industry, that we have GSMA, which is like something where we meet each other and where we may define certain topics, what we roll out together. And therefore, normally in this kind of business, we are not competitors, but we are partners with other telcos. And this is not just true within one country, because normally we try to have similar rules, for example, in all the German-spoken territories. So let's call it the DACH room, so to say, so Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. And where we try to harmonize data. For example, like if you ask for a name, it makes a difference whether you have double names with a minus between the first name and the second name, to harmonize the way you hash those data, that you don't get mistakes due to a not harmonized data set.
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much, Manfred, for your presentation today. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day as well. Bye.
Bye-bye.